Well, we'd like to welcome you to our city council meeting tonight. We appreciate your attendance here. It's nice to always have people here who are visiting. It makes us feel like we're doing something, which we're not, to get you here. So, but we're just grateful for your attendance. So we'll first start with an invocation by Council Member Craig Jensen, after which Council Member Mindy Wright will give us a pledge.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful that we can meet here this Tuesday evening. We're grateful for the citizens and those that have come to this meeting. We're grateful that they're here, and I hope that we can accomplish some things this day. We ask that we might be courageous and kind as we serve one another and go about our daily activities. These things we pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
If you'll stand and repeat after with me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the agenda as written.
I'll motion to approve the meeting's agenda as written.
And I will second that.
Okay, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Well, we'd like to welcome any students who are here, or scouts. Anybody who'd like to raise their hand that say they're here from as a student project or something? We usually, oh, nice. Would you guys like to come up and sit on the stand with us? You can, would you? Come on. No? We have candy up here. That's usually how we get the young men up here, is we tell them that there's candy, and that usually brings them right up. So anyway, we welcome you here and hope that we can answer some of your questions for you. So we have an opportunity for public comment. Any of you who would like to do public comment, we encourage you. There's a form that's out in the foyer, and we ask you to get it to Kim over here, and she'll get it to me. We have 3. So if anybody else who would like to speak to the council, those are comments for you to make to the council, where it's not an opportunity for discussion or for us to take any particular action on it. So that, but at least it gives you an opportunity to be able to express some concerns. And we've actually had some really good comments that have helped the city. So we look forward to that always in our meeting. Well, let's go to the ceremonial agenda. And Emily, we'd like to have you come up and
PowerPoint, but for some reason I can't get it to open. So I'm wondering, can you do a flash drive on this? Because Candace, and Candace, probably our educator, so prepared, had it also backed up on flash drive. And if not, you just are going to have to come to the museum this week and see the art. That will be the. I can do it now. This is a very cute flash drive.
so, Emily, are these some of the picture or drawings and paintings that we saw up at the state capitol? She's not listening.
These, I think, were not at the Capitol, but they are ones that are at the museum right now.
Okay, very good.
For the same
Thanks.
program. And here's this. Thank you, everyone. Aha, here we go. Thank you for your patience with us. Awesome. Okay. And this is Candace Brown, one of our great employees who runs our high school programs. Okay, so the All-State High School Art Show, hosted at the Springville Museum of Art, is one of the largest exhibitions of its kind in the nation. Most states don't do kind of an all-state art show like we do for high school students. And each year we receive impressive works from high school juniors and seniors from across the state. This year, 98 schools are represented in the show. There were over 1,000 works submitted by 869 students, and only 327 pieces were selected for display. And each school is limited. We tell them based off their enrollment how many pieces they can enter. So usually it's only the best pieces from the school that are even entered. And so just getting into the show at all is a huge honor. It's like making it to state championships for art. And this show could not happen without the generous support from you all, Springville City, and our various other sponsors of the high school show, including Clyde Companies, our Harold Burton Foundation, and Utah Arts and Museums. And today we'd especially like to recognize, since we're in Art City, the students from Springville who were accepted into the show, and it's really especially exciting to see the talents of our own students in Springville and have their work at the museum. So we'll invite these students to come up, and Mayor, could we invite you to come down and shake their hands? And Candace has a certificate for them, and we will show their art as well on the screen. So congratulations. It really is a huge honor to be part of the show, and we love, this is a huge amount of students, 9 students from Springville. So the first is Courtney Bingham for Harmony. Candace has a certificate for you. And now we'll do a group picture. So
Yeah.
next we have Larson Boyer for Not a Crow. Dua Wisnima Groves for What's for Breakfast. Haley LeBlanc for Pieces of Me, and she couldn't be here, but great piece. Abby Rasmussen for Swan Sister. Samuel Reeser for This Guy Means Trouble. Lydia Steiner for Purse Teapot. Camille Unguren for Perpetual Motion. And Maddie West for Dance of the Koi. And we are so proud to have these students represent Springville and Utah's Art City in this statewide exhibition. We congratulate you all and look forward to seeing what you will do in the future. And let's take all a group picture together too.
I'm like in this.
Around too, so all city council can see your cute faces.
Good job.
Well done. Good stuff.
Congratulations.
You can go home now.
Very well done. Thank you so very much for representing the city and with the high school. It was interesting. Drawing is such a beautiful part of life. Yesterday I had some of my grandkids over, and my grandson was so excited to show me his sketchbook. And he wanted to go through and show me all the sketches that he had done and how proud he was. And I know that's just it's great therapy for a child to be able to do it, let alone just a great expression for themselves. So we just appreciate all the effort and time and the talent that you have to be able to do it. So thank you. And Emily, as always, you're incredible, as well as your
That's what
staff.
flash drives are. You forgot it. No, Candace is great. So.
Yep, Candace, thank you so very, very much. We really appreciate it. All right, we have 3 comments for the City Council. Amy Palethorpe, is that correct? Yes. Okay, Amy, come on right up and she'll address us.
Good evening. My name is Amy Palethorpe. I live at 761 North, 200 East in Springville. My phone number is 801-834-5808. And I'm here to inform the City Council members all about the Ruth's desire to partner with and give back to your community. You may be wondering, what is the Ruth? So let's dig in and find out. As you probably know, the Hale Center Theater, that small intimate theater in Orem, has moved to a new location, to a magnificent building in Pleasant Grove. The theater is called the Ruth and Nathan Hale Theater of doTERRA Campus, or the Ruth for short. I serve as a community advocate member representing Springville for the Ruth and am the liaison for your city, our city. Through the Ruth, we work to elevate the arts through community connections. Our goal is to work with the Arts Commission in our city. I'm here to share some information about an exciting resource for our community and to open up a line of communication. Since the theater's opening, which I think is just a few months ago, we have already distributed 6,500 ticket vouchers for people to see the Ruth throughout the county. The Ruth will continue to provide world-class shows and performing arts classes that residents in our community can enjoy. They are also in the process of developing a variety of offerings to support our community. The Ruth would like to invite you and other city guests to attend Jersey Boys. It's the PG version. Tonight we have vouchers for the mayor, the city council, and department heads. We have already gone to the fire department, police department, and other city offices to distribute ticket vouchers for them and to show appreciation for all they do, and it's kind of a gift in exchange. So, this is my first time being here. I am assuming that you are department heads.
These are city council people.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, well then I would like to say thank you. Thank you for all that you do, and considering Springville is Art City, let's continue to expand the arts and their appreciation. And as a gift, we'd like to share some tickets for you. Would the most appropriate way for me to leave them with the recorder?
You could, yes. Just leave them with Kim, and then she'll be happy to distribute them. That'd be wonderful.
Okay.
How wonderful. Thank you so very
Each
much.
voucher is good for 2 complimentary tickets. It's good for any performance at any time. And go ahead and call, and they'll take it from there.
Wonderful.
All right,
Wonderful.
thank you.
Thank you so very much for all you're doing, yeah.
It is so cool. I mean, it's a nice theater.
It is, and I miss the little tiny intimate feeling of, well, I guess now that it's been replaced, it's okay. How many should I leave? What's a good number?
Yeah, Troy could probably give you a better idea than,
His directors and counselors.
there we go.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Really appreciate it. Okay, Craig Lowe. And just keep in mind 3 or 4 minutes, that sort of thing. So,
Well, I'm Craig Lowe. This is all about a water line break your city had on 11/4/22. I got a call from my nephew, said that his grandma's house had been ruined and destroyed. The water line broke, sunk the road about 2 feet, put 4 sinkholes across my property to Brad Peterson's property, hit his front door. House dropped 6 inches. Basically, it's a total loss. Turned it into you guys, talked to you guys, come down here. They said, "Oh, I'm glad you showed up. We've destroyed your house." That turned around immediately to deny. Chris Wilson, your city engineer, has gone to 2 different engineering firms to come up with the answer he wanted, the second one, that says the mountain's moving. So Mr. Snelson here came to it with me. I don't understand how their water line, which I have nothing to do with, could cause my house to sink. My insurance hired some people come out. They said it's a city water line break. He's come up with a new theory. I get no response from anything. It's just deny. I don't know if there's anything I can do. I'm looking at a $700,000 loss on that property. I had the property sold. I turned down an offer, thank gosh, because that person would have had their whole life invested into this. Me, if I lose it, it's not going to kill me. I don't know if you guys want to look into it, anything we can do about it?
Well, I know that the city has done some work on it, and I know that John Penrod has done some work on it. And this has to do with insurance and legal claims. And Troy, you might have just some preliminary stuff for the council, and then
Yeah, if the council's interested, we can certainly do a work session on it, but we can also commit to have the legal department make sure that he has a clear response as to what the city's position is and what his options are moving forward. As you know, that's standard what we do. We either say yes or clearly explain the options that are available.
yeah, and this isn't a body tonight to have a discussion or to take action, but for you to bring to our attention what you've just done. And then it's up to us to decide whether we want to have a discussion further with legal or with whatever in relationship to it. So I appreciate you being here. I really do. It takes a lot of courage to come down here and have a discussion with us. So my question is, I'm going to start down here on Mindy's side and just ask if you want to have a report from our legal department and also from the engineering department in relationship to it. You probably don't know that much about it, so.
No, I'd be interested in hearing what the reports were and why they came to the decision they came to.
Okay, Mike?
I've heard them, but I'd like to have the discussion with the council.
Okay, Logan?
Yeah, I'm interested to learn more.
Okay, Craig?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'd like to know more, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Any information you need from me, you've got my number?
I've got your number. Because we're in the city side, we did the best thing for us to do is to gather information from them. And in this discussion that we'll have and at some future time, you come, it's a public meeting, and bring anybody that you'd like to, and we'll just have a discussion amongst ourselves and the facts of
Yeah,
it.
so we'll schedule the work session. We'll let you know about that. If there's any information you're interested in the council having in advance, we can include that in the information that goes to them. So we'll have you work with a staff member that gets assigned to that. They'll contact you to see if you have
Super.
anything you want to submit.
And could they get back to me so I could get back to my insurance and show them what you guys have come up with to deny any liability for it?
Sure. And
I mean, the only thing I could see would be an earthquake that, could exempt a water line that's gonna break.
Yeah, we'll get into that, and so this work session, this will allow us to get some reading material so that they can see what the city has done engineering-wise and legal-wise and insurance-wise, and then be able to have a discussion about it. And that's when you can, we generally don't have in a work session people a chance to talk, but I'll make sure you have a chance to say a few words. And
That work session be like what you guys had before tonight?
Yep. Yep, and we don't know when that will be, but it will be here in the next
get it
future.
on
And you'll know when it is, so you're welcome to come.
Appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Greg.
you.
Steve Lawrence.
Chris,
Good evening. My name is Steve Lawrence. I am actually a resident of Southern California, and I have a business here in Orem, Utah, 1145 South, 800 East in Orem, Utah. I want to thank you first off for the opportunity to be able to come forward in front of you as council members. I want to bring an item to your attention, and I appreciate the careful and thoughtful consideration that the city has with regard to the integrity and the appearance of throughout the city of Springville. I come before you not to consider a change in a policy, but rather to be able to impose some interest on being able to have an exception to the rule at the KOA campground of what is currently posted as the 120-day stay at the KOA. The reason I'm looking for exceptions is because I do believe that there's valid reasons to put in a limitation of stay, but then on that same note, there's also could be valid reasons to have a very detailed exception policy to allow beyond that. I recognize that the purpose of the limit of 120-day stay is to prevent people from having long-term residency or claiming residency there in the campground, which I know can over time can degrade the property and just look bad in a nutshell. It's not uncommon for campgrounds, RV parks to be able to do that. In fact, it's very common that they're concerned about the appearance and look. However, there's compelling reasons to look at a case-by-case basis on why somebody may need to stay there a little bit longer. Many times, these kinds of extended stays are for reasons that individuals are in an area in a temporary basis, and 120 days may be a limit too much. I'm an example of one of these individuals. I'm here in Utah conducting business. I'm actually building business in Utah, building up the economy, and also bringing jobs to the area as well. So those are the kinds of exceptions that I'm looking at having to consideration. There's many professionals that are currently in the KOA campground. They choose to use an RV life as a practical way of their living life rather than, it gives them the chance with family and kids and so forth rather than extended stays in hotels while they may be in an area for work nature for a particular time frame. Just to give you an example of a few types that may be construction workers. Many of them are in an area for longer than 120 days and they then move on to the next job. Traveling nurses is another one in the healthcare industry. Many hospitals aren't hiring for nurse staff, but they will do traveling nurses, and these traveling nurses will do the same thing. They'll come to an area, be on a 6-month, 9-month, 12-month contract, and then move on to the next contract out of the area. And many of them do that in an RV. I do know two in particular in this particular area. One had to leave or cancel the contract early to go to Tennessee because they weren't able to fulfill their obligations because of the limitation of the stay and they weren't about to go into a hotel. Another example would be airline pilots or military pilots where they often have to find some place as a home base and they'll obviously traveling through air but need to have a place that they can stop, rest for extended weekends and so forth. As an example, I do know there's military pilots in the RV campground, the KO campground currently, that their RV is there for more than 120 days, but the days they actually spend the night there, probably in a 4-month time frame, is probably less than 20. So then, again, another reason for consideration. And there's a lot of times there's these short-term contracted employees that need to have a place that they can rely on to be able to, consider a place to stay beyond that. Currently, it looks at, in my research, that Springville seems to be the only one that has these kind of limits in Utah and also Salt Lake County. And again, understanding why there's the limits. And again, but I want to just reemphasize the proposal of an exception process. To ensure that there is a good, valid reason for exceptions and also to uphold the quality of the appearance and so it doesn't degrade the property and the standards that the city has. There's a lot of campgrounds that do enforce certain policies that would prevent that. And I just want to share a few with you that you can take into consideration.
I need to remind you, 3 or 4 minutes.
I'm going to be done in less than a minute.
All right, thank you.
One of them is to validate that they do have an alternate residency. So validate that they have a place that they actually call home. So for example, a lease, a utility bill, something that is current. Vehicle compliance, making sure that they are registered and their registration is not at the KOA or the campground there. The ability to move their vehicle so that they don't come here and become permanent, that they could actually move. And then obviously the maintenance of it to ensure that it upholds the standards. By implementing these measures, I know that the KOA campground can continue to contribute a reputable, high-quality facility amongst these professionals in the community. And again, it's not my intent to have you change the policy, but to look at the ability to implement an exception process that can be easily enforced and be able to uphold those standards. I'm also going to leave it open to you that if there's any questions that you have, I realize it's not the forum to have discussions and questions, but as you do consider these processes, I definitely would want to make sure that you know that I'm available to address the questions. I'm not here representing the campground. I'm an occupant there. I'm a guest there. And I do know that the campground management people are aware that I'm here tonight asking about this. They support it as well, but either way, we would be able to answer any questions and so forth that you may have.
Wonderful, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
So is that true? We're the only city that has any kind of limitation on a KOA campground?
Over 20 years, the KOA, this particular campground's made that argument. We've seen no evidence of that. Most campgrounds have restrictions. We found many that have stay restrictions and seasonal issues associated with it, but that's an argument we've heard in the past.
So,
No, this isn't for a discussion, so I think, you ask a question of Troy, so I'm gonna hold our comments to comments, if that's okay. Okay.
Well, and I would say, I know in campgrounds in California that as long as you can move your vehicle from one space to another space, that would start your time back over. Is that the case with our ordinance?
Our ordinance does not allow that. You have to leave I can't remember exactly, I think it's a 7-day time, but you have to leave we've had so many different settlement agreements over time due to violations of it. There's a period of time where you had to leave for 7 days, and I think right now the code is 120 days in a calendar year. So the exception that most people have been using is doing it kind of late in the year to early spring. So you're seeing kind of the end of the 100-day period of people that have been there for the fall and the spring using the 2024 120 days and the 2025 120 days.
So we've had, can I make a comment?
Yep.
We've had discussions on this campground since I've been on the council. But these suggestions that Mr. Lawrence makes are kind of interesting if we take a look at the residency there on a case-by-case basis. I'd maybe like to have a discussion about that. I don't know, I don't remember having that particular discussion.
Yeah, we're happy to resurrect and do those again. We actually had another call from another resident down there this last week making similar arguments, and I don't know where they've established residency, but they have multiple kids in schools here. That was specifically something the council was looking not to have happen, this kind of residency and long-term stay situation. But yeah, we'd be happy to kind of go through
How have they been, Troy? I mean, there for a while, they'd make promises and they wouldn't keep them. And for the last couple of years, I don't think you three have heard anything about the KOA, have you?
But it was a constant.
It was a constant when Mike and I first came on council. So I'm assuming they've gotten better, or we've just gotten.
Yeah, there was a switch in ownership and management. I saw actually based upon these concerns, they've made some upgrades to their clubhouse and changes there. I have not heard
cleaner.
anything from community development, which to me means we're receiving the log that they're required to do as a short-term stay resident under state law, which will tell us that they're following the rules better than we've seen in the past.
Yeah, I don't know the history of the discussions you guys have had, but I, with Mike, would be interested in maybe exploring some ways to make it work for people who are staying there and for our city.
It might lead avenues. I mean, not that that's the solution, but as we hear that affordable housing just beat up over and over again, and perhaps KOA isn't the answer to affordable housing, but there might be something to think about there because of the transient nature of a certain labor force.
Okay, well, we've got a couple of people who want to have a discussion about it, so I think that'll be fine.
Might be. Well, I mean, heck, Mike, it's been a long time since we've
Was,
kicked it
yeah,
around. You were here.
I
weren't
missed
you?
the discussion.
I don't. Okay. No, this isn't a discussion back and forth. This is just between us council members. So if you want to ask further questions, catch Troy Fitzgerald after the meeting and he'd be more than happy to help you. Okay? Okay, thank you. Okay, I need any discussion on the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
I'll
Yeah.
second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Okay, Stacy, you're on.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Get this to pull up. Okay, as you know, we've made this announcement with you, but tonight we're going to make it a little more official, I hope. And as you know, McWayne Ductile approached us last fall. He actually approached the mayor. They approached the mayor, and they wanted to.
While the mayor was on the mountain.
While the mayor was on the mountain, we could hear that story. Do you want to share that story, Mayor? It's a good thing that he goes to the mountain. So they reached out to him, and oops, I think I went too far. Let me just jump back. They wanted to give back to the community, and they wanted to make a donation. And so we took them around to some different projects and different ideas in the community, and they selected the Arts Park to make a generous donation to. And so they have committed a $1 million donation to the Arts Park. And as you know, that is a wonderful place. It is over 30 years old, and there are some repairs and things that we could do to enhance that area in that park. And the great thing is there's a lot of things happening right now at that park. We're with the new high school coming in. We're building a new plaza as part of the Arts Park. It's going to be such a wonderful area. And the great thing about this project too is that it combines parks and art. It kind of combines the best of all of Springville. So anyway, what we wanted to do with that $1 million is use it to some of these proposed upgrades. The first thing would be a new steel canopy structure. And this is just a rendering that the architects have come up with to kind of give you an idea of what we would be doing. But with that new steel canopy structure, that'll help us be able to use it a lot more in the early spring and late fall. It'll also we'll be able to use it in rainstorms as well. It'll also improve the sound. It'll just be such a wonderful enhancement for us to have there. We'll also we're going to remodel the existing building and stage. We're going to give it a facelift and an upgrade there. One of the things we'd love to do is have terrace seating and then the state-of-the-art sound and light system. Now, $1 million might not get us all the way there, but it will get us a really good jump start with the building and the canopy for sure. So what we're asking tonight is just for us to allow the mayor to sign the gift and naming agreement with McWane Ductile. With the $1 million, we would commit to naming it the McWane Amphitheater at Springville Arts Park, and that would be for 20 years. And I added a couple of different renderings just so you could see what it would look like and then be able to answer any questions, or if you've got any thoughts of what you'd like to see there, you could let us know.
I do have just a couple of curiosity questions on the agreement itself, the gift and naming agreement. On number 9, third-party signage. As everybody knows, there's a big sign that Central Bank has hanging up there because they sponsor the events.
Right.
Is there any, and that falls under this number 9 third-party signage thing, is there any conflict between Central Bank or whoever's sponsoring any of the events with what McWane might want to have happen in terms of their name on it, so that there's no confusion between who's done this? Or
Right. What I would foresee, and I think this is a very good conversation, that we're meeting with McWane Ductile monthly to kind of give them an update and ask any questions, but that's a really good topic to approach with them. But what I see this as is this would be more of a permanent signage, maybe at the front of the park, maybe something that shares the history of McWane Ductile or, Springville Pipe Plant as it was before it was McWane. Where we it's more of a permanent a signage there is what I have. That's my understanding of it, but I could clarify that.
And maybe with the event sponsored banner, they could just put event sponsored by. Or
right. We could
whatever.
just kind of make sure that we specify what that is for. And I don't see, and so we've had this conversation with them as well, because they understand that there's going to be other things that are happening. There's a lot of different things that are happening at the park. And so we did clarify that this is is for public events, but it'll also be for private events, so I think you're right, but I think that is something that we'll want to make sure that we clarify.
Yeah. And then the other question I have, and I'm no attorney or anything, Chris, but the number 15 choice of law, in accordance with the laws of the state of Delaware, we're here, and I think McWane's headquarters is in Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, is it? I thought it was in Delaware. Are they?
I'm sure they're incorporated in Delaware.
Oh, maybe. So that's why.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
A lot of
I saw that and I thought, what? Why
I
that?
thought the same thing, but a lot of companies are incorporated in
In several
Delaware
places,
because
probably.
the Delaware laws are
Easy.
better
Is
for
your
some. Yes.
tax law.
Gotcha. Okay. That's it.
Any other questions?
Okay, any other questions? Now, Emily did what I thought was a great idea. She put together a letter of understanding,
Oh, okay.
and you can just talk with her. And as you have these questions come up that I think Mike brought up, that very legitimate, you just say in the letter of this is what we understand. Why? Because in 20 years you might be, people are all going to be different, and you don't want someone to have an understanding or assume something when that's not the way it was intended on the front end. And you can clarify it very easily on the front end with just letters of understanding. This is what we understand it to be, so.
Okay, great.
I think we've done it a little more formal, Mayor, and you'll get to sign that after this meeting, assuming we accept the gift.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's
yeah.
a contract.
Okay, yeah, okay. Easy.
And that's what the resolution is
Okay,
stating.
any other questions for Stacy? Okay, very good.
When this is all done, we'll do a grand opening.
Yes, and hopefully I can give you a quick idea of the timeline. Right now, we're going to start working on the design, the concept, and the engineering, and hopefully be able to go out to bid for that either in June or July, and be prepared to start construction in September, right after our arts festival, our last concert of the summer. Then we would start construction, and then we should be able to have it ready to go by next Art City Days, so next spring. So that's the timeline for it.
Very good.
Okay, no further questions. I need a motion then.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2025-09, authorizing Mayor Packard to sign a gift and naming rights agreement with McWayne Incorporated for the McWayne Amphitheater at the Arts Park.
I will second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, a roll call vote. Mike?
Yes.
Mindy?
Yes.
Jake?
Yes.
Logan?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Thank you, Stacy. And I think Logan and Mike can attest, these are just wonderful people.
Absolutely.
Just really impressed with them and the caliber of people they are, and just really down-to-earth people, and they're also very community-oriented, so. it's
They
very good.
came and asked the city what we thought would be good for them to put their name on. We took them around to 5 different locations, and they chose this one.
Yes, they are. They're really great to work with. It's going to be a really wonderful partnership with them, and they're excited about this project.
Yes.
So
very
are
good.
we.
Yeah, this is awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, we also have, Emily, are you going to speak to this? Okay.
So I have a somewhat similar presentation to Stacy. We want to get the city council's approval and buy-in on an agreement that the Springville Museum of Art Association, our 501c3 nonprofit, has made with the Ford family. They came to us a few months ago wanting to make a sizable donation to support the museum, to set up a endowment in honor of their mother and wife, Carol Ford, who died unexpectedly last August. She was a quilter who participated in a lot of our quilt shows, and they wanted to do something to really honor her legacy as a quilter and an artist, and do something to support the community and the arts. And so to honor Carol and to honor this really sizable gift to the museum, we worked with the association, city leadership, and the Ford family to come up with this plan, which includes renaming our hallway gallery, where many of her quilts hung over the years, to the Carol Ford Memorial Gallery, and we would exhibit a selection of her quilts in this gallery during the quilt show for the next 10 years. We would award a Carol Ford Legacy Award in the quilt show for the next 10 years. This year, in July through September, we'll host a small retrospective of her work, and we'll create a virtual field trip, catalog, and video. Sorry, my ears are ringing. Is that just me, or is it the microphone?
I don't hear it.
I don't hear it.
Well, I was very disorienting. Sorry, but I think it's over now. That part of the exhibition, and we kind of fortuitously, a few years ago, our educators had started working on a program with our middle school outreach program where they talk about quilting and use quilting as a metaphor for building community. And so we'll be able to use all of these resources in that middle school program where we'll be able to teach the middle schoolers about Carol and her quilting. So it really is really mission aligned. So our recommended motion is to approve that resolution approving the donation from the Ford family and related programming and recognition agreed upon by the Springville Museum of Art Association, Springville City, and the Ford family. And the things that the city really is committing to is the museum building is owned by the city, and so that they would name that gallery after Carol and maintain that name until at least 2100. We said 75 years. Then one thing that's really important to the Ford family in setting up this endowment is that the city and the association wouldn't see it as a way to offset operational costs, that the city would continue funding the museum at the same level that it has been, and that they wouldn't cut their funding and just kind of use this to replace that, but that the Ford's funding would be in addition to funding that already operates the museum, and then that you would support this exhibition and the educational programming in honor of Carol Ford.
Okay, questions for Emily?
Is the hallway gallery that narrow hallway that's
It's got the drinking fountain and the windows.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
look
and
in.
then the little
and the little
niches,
stairway
yeah.
in it? Has it got a stairway?
It
I'm not
kind
sure
of
what hallway it
connects to the spiral staircase, but the that's the Nemelka gallery, which is the back straight staircase is the Nemelka gallery.
That goes up
So-
to the Russian.
is. What's the hallway one?
It's the one where the drinking fountain is, and there's the little niches with the pedestals.
Oh, okay, where the artist portraits are. Is it that one?
It's
Directly
on the main floor.
On the main
So
floor.
we
Oh, okay.
wanted to do it on the main floor, so it would be a gallery where we hang quilts and where her quilts have hung. So it's not the most grand gallery in the museum, but I think the most meaningful to honor Carol and where her work.
Is it named currently?
And it's currently not named.
Great.
So an endowment and a donation, are they different? Is it a one-time donation, or an endowment is something that they will continue to contribute to?
So it's going to be right now a one-time donation that is sizable enough that we'll be able to just use a portion of it each year, invest it, and then it will be able to support our programming for decades.
Very good.
I really like going through the museum and seeing the names on each wing and then looking up like, okay, who are those people? And it's a cool thing to know that these people have helped make Art City what it is. So I'm glad that we'll have her name on this gallery.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, any other questions? I need a motion.
I will motion that we approve resolution number 2025-10, approving a donation from the Ford family and related programming and recognition agreed upon by the Springville Museum of Art Association and Springville City.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Logan?
Yes.
Mindy?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Jake?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Thank you. This Ford family is just an incredible family. I got acquainted with Doug Ford. He might remember, but it was back in the 80s, and just a remarkable man and a remarkable family. They've just been very, very gifted and been very, very kind to the people around them, employees and everything. So anyway, we're very grateful for them. Thank you, Emily. And thank you for all your work. Okay, we have consideration of a resolution with LGI. Josh?
Well, not to be left out of all the good news tonight, we're also bringing an agreement to you worth millions of dollars.
Awesome.
And it's in our favor until we have to pay it back. So the background on this project, most of you are pretty familiar with, but as Mindy asked me today about it, I again remembered how long this has been going, and that our newest members of the council weren't here when we really brought this chunk into Lakeside. So when Lakeside was adopted at the end of 2021, this area was not included in the original project, but this property was up for sale. So an investor did some real slick property arbitrage and bought this property and had the Lakeside Landing Overlay District applied to it in about 2 months, and then turned around and conveyed it to LGI Homes. So LGI has been working in the intervening number of years, putting together what will be the first development to get fully across the finish line in Lakeside. All of the other areas that are currently in Lakeside were under the original development agreement that was adopted along with the original overlay district. And this piece, because it was brought in later, was not party to that original development agreement. So for that reason, and for the reasons I'll note here, they're entering into a development agreement for this area. First thing is that it provides us as the city the ability, considering recent state legislation, to impose design regulation on single-family and single-family attached homes. The provision in the state code allows us to do that only where it's in exchange for a zone that gives more density and or by a development agreement. So we've essentially checked both of those boxes here. So this development agreement memorializes that for the developer, so that we all agree that the development will be regulated by those, and gives us that assurance under state code. It also establishes timelines and reimbursements and project scopes surrounding the extension of off-site pressurized irrigation utilities. There's a interesting situation here wherein we cannot continue to subsidize may not be the right word, but to supply water to our pressurized irrigation system from our culinary system. And so before these units or any homes out here in Lakeside receive a certificate of occupancy, we have to have actual pressurized irrigation from the PI system delivered to the site, not just culinary water in the PI pipes, or to a service in a house with dry pipes in the street. So what the development agreement establishes is that this project needs to be completed before any certificates of occupancy can be given, which gives us the ability to withhold a certificate of occupancy in a way that we wouldn't typically be able to under state code. I don't have any doubt that this project's going to be done way ahead of any buildings being ready for occupancy, but it does memorialize that element. Especially LGI is already in process with the pressurized irrigation project, even ahead of us adopting this agreement that specifies their reimbursement mechanisms. So they're in the ground and they're moving. It also specifies some upgrades to sewer lift stations that the city is actually taking the lead on, and it establishes a reimbursement mechanism that first any value or the value of their projects that they're doing that are reimbursable will first be reimbursed by credits against their impact fees that they owe. So as they come in to pull permits on houses, they'll be able to show us their magic ticket and say, hey, I don't have to pay impact fees for sewer or water or pressurized irrigation, whichever one it is. And if there aren't credits, if there aren't enough credits from what they're building to cover the cost of that, their work, then the remainder of the balance will be paid from the impact fee funds on a yearly basis, depending on the balance in those impact fee funds and in the order that, essentially the payoff order of any other projects. It also tells us how to deal with stormwater in the area. The city's stormwater master plan anticipates a series of regional basins out in this area, but those aren't ready yet. So LGI is going to construct some small on-site basins to deal with their stormwater demand, and then this agreement this agreement describes that they will, or gives them a period of time which to abandon and disconnect those basins from the stormwater system when our regional basin is completed. So those are the basic points of the development agreement, and it's been reviewed extensively by legal and administration. Everyone signed off on the contract cover sheet, and it comes to you with a positive recommendation from Planning Commission, and we're excited to see somebody actually get in the ground out here at Lakeside.
Questions for Josh?
So sorry, so what you're basically saying, this agreement already existed and they're just adding the 15 acres?
No, there was a development agreement
Yes.
that for all the other acreage. This is a separate development agreement that only applies to this 15 acres and is only between LGI Homes and Springville City.
Okay, gotcha.
But it's using the same transacts and all that as the other, the overlay.
In terms of the Lakeside Landing overlay, yes, we took care of that, years ago, and they've gone through that process and have. This is essentially the last remaining step to get their subdivision approved, because they needed to have this agreement in place to commit them to providing their utilities and us providing the utilities before we could approve that subdivision.
And the reason this is coming forward now is because this parcel was not part of the
Correct.
original
This
Lakeside
15
Landing.
acres was not part of the original, and even if it was, we'd still be back to you with some type of agreement to deal with the reimbursement for the utilities.
Yeah.
We're just handling them both in the same agreement in this case.
Can you remind me, the Westfield lift station, is that the one at 10th North and like 15th West? Is that?
Jeff, is Westfield's the one at the freeway or the one at 16th? The Westfield's is the one at the freeway.
Okay.
There's two up there at 10th North. I just can't ever remember which one is which.
Right, yeah, cool.
And is the utilities that are going in are just enough for their 15 acres? It's not enough for all of Lakeside, is it, or is it? Especially as we go under I-15.
Well, that's some parts of the reimbursement
yeah.
is one, they're bringing what they need, but they're also building the
upsizing.
facility to what our master plan requires for the whole area. So we're paying for any on-sites, which they do have some on-sites, we're paying the upsize. And then for the off-sites, we pay it all through impact fees.
Cool.
Eventually.
That makes it easier for others to come in after.
Right. The PI project won't provide all the pressurized irrigation capacity for Lakeside, but the pipe they put in is sufficient. They're coming from a point farther in the system up by Merritt and Reagan. To get enough flow, they actually have to connect that big pipe all the way back down to Smith's for a next phase, but LGI will have enough flow in that pipe to serve their acreage, and then that pipe is big enough to handle the full flow when that connection is made.
Cool.
Very good.
Okay, other questions? Okay, Mike Nelson stole mine. And I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I'll motion to approve resolution number 2025-11, approving a development agreement between LGI Homes and Springville City.
I'll second.
Okay, Mike,
Yes.
Jake,
Yes.
Craig,
Yes.
Logan,
Yes.
Mindy.
Yes.
Very good. Very good. Okay,
I see this guy shaking his head. Are you part of LGI or?
I am. It's been a long time coming. So
You've been shaking your head all night. Yeah, good.
we're very glad that you're here.
We know Dave, and so I just figured, it's.
We
shaking
just
his head.
heard from LGI today, and they just offered to do a day of service that we're going to talk about in our meeting tomorrow as well. So another donation headed our way, which is
Oh,
great.
good. Excellent.
Yeah, we do. I just reiterate, we're glad you're here. We hope that everything goes well. I have lots of people who keep asking about housing. And I keep telling them it's coming on the west, coming on the west, coming on the west. So they're looking forward to it. So thank you. Very good. Okay, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
I have it.
Opposed?
Who'd you give it to, Kim?
Yes.